All right, everyone. Hello. This is Michael Wright today, the modern reformer. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of gold and silver and why we need gold and silver as legal tender in this nation. First, I need to be very clear about this. Gold and silver is not just some asset, it is money. It is money. Okay? It is God's money. In fact, we're going to go to the Bible first. I need to make sure you see that. So here we go. Looking at the Bible. We're going to Haggai chapter 2 verse 8. And what does it say clearly? The silver is mine and the gold is mine, saith the Lord of hosts. This is the money that God himself uses. And I think that says it all. See, you got to remember that money can be manipulated if you use the wrong currency. Well, arguably, money could be manipulated to some capacity regardless of currency, but it is much more difficult to manipulate when you're dealing with strictly with physical silver and physical gold. If you are dealing strictly with physical silver and physical gold, and you might be willing to throw copper in there as well, because we used copper for pennies and things like that too. It has value. It's true, but you need to understand they can't just easily inflate these metals, though. It's not like they could snap their fingers or just go to a printing press or anything along those lines and make more of this, because you got to remember the basic law of supply and demand. The more of something there is, the less valuable it becomes. So since they cannot do that to gold and silver could literally be anywhere and is everywhere on the planet, you got to look for it. They are natural elements in the earth. So it's excuse me, and not only that, but they serve so many purposes, and also they're incredibly durable. They're incredibly durable, and they've proven the test of time from society to society. Silver and gold are universally recognized. Silver and gold. Copper's valuable too. I mean, several metals are, but for the sake of monetary metals, silver, gold, really, those are the two traditional, and you might see copper as well. You might, but anyway, we're really focusing on silver and gold here. But with that being said, there's a reason why the Bible says specifically, the silver is mine and the gold is mine, saith the Lord. These two are incredibly valuable, and the Lord himself sees the value in them. And I think that should say it all, guys. You have to break out from the herd mentality. Everyone who's just using dollars and things along those lines, or if you just have total faith in an American dollar or any currency created by man that can either be inflated with no limit, then that is dangerous. And you have to understand your buying power goes down because the less valuable that thing becomes, that dollar becomes, because there's more of them now. Again, supply and demand. The more of something there is, the less valuable it becomes. So, let's go ahead and let's go to the Constitution. I want to go to Genesis as well. Not only does God have this, but God, going all the way back to Genesis chapter 2, you'll see here that even in the Garden of Eden, God made sure that man had access to gold. This is what God always intended for us to be using as a monetary currency, as legal tender. And this fact is also recognized in the Constitution. So let's go over to the Constitution now. All right. So this is Article 1, Section 10 of the U.S. Constitution. And it says clearly, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in the payment of debts. It just acknowledged that the states have the right to make silver and gold legal tender. That's a big deal. That is a very big deal. And it goes back to the roots of this nation. Why did the founders find it so important to ensure that silver and gold could be acknowledged as a form of legal tender? Because they understood that there was always the possibility that, well, number one, some stupid, nonsensical currency could come along, or manipulation, abuse of a currency could take place, or just various other forms of danger could be aimed at the nation as a whole if the adoption of just many man-made currencies were introduced, but also the dangers that man could enact through their man-made currencies as well. And that's why silver and gold were there. Silver and gold are the foundation. They're the baseline. It's just like, hey, if everything else fails, people can always use silver and gold. The founders recognized this concept as well. It is critical because if you've been paying attention to the markets, you would know that silver and gold they've been starting to move. And it's important because we're going to see those. I strongly believe the prices will keep going up. That doesn't mean you should invest. I'm not saying any of that in any capacity. It's just my personal suspicion that the prices are going to keep going up because, again, there is no sign of inflation ending. I mean, do you really think inflation would come to an end regardless of who gets elected? Do you trust Congress in any capacity to do the right thing and create a balanced budget? Do you? No? If the answer is no, and you have no faith in your public servants, which is me, I have no faith in my public servants. None. Overwhelmingly. And that is why concepts such as silver and gold are so valuable, going back to God's money, because they don't have the ability to manipulate the physical supply to the degree that they would really like to in order to become oppressive or to steal your wealth. Because they can pass an invisible tax against you without even needing to campaign for it or anything like that, or say they're going to pass taxes against you. Instead, they just inflate the dollar, and that achieves the same goal, which reduces your buying power. I believe a lot of public servants, in fact, are not good people. I believe a lot of them are quite oppressive and that they are purposefully working to hurt us. If you want to get out of the way, you want to stop playing their silly game, you got to get out the system. Get out their system and make it to where they cannot impact you. I'm not saying you have to just do away entirely with dollars or anything like that. It would be pretty difficult to do that. But it's worth considering having some silver and gold on hand. It's valuable. There's a reason that the Lord has it. It's God's money. And I'm saying this again. This is not financial advice. It's really not. But I am stressing the importance of why the Constitution and the Bible talk about the need for silver and gold and the option for silver and gold to be used as tender. You can always go back to silver and gold because they are always trustworthy. They will always be trustworthy, and they will always retain their value. So if you want an option that is, again, not bound, where the physical supply is not manipulated by their crazy inflation tactics, there you go. Look to God's money. God put it here for us for more than one reason. So, anyways, that's just my 2 cents. I encourage everyone, again, consider it, think about it. I'm not saying invest. That's on you. If you want to invest or something like that, hey, good on you. But what I would encourage you to do, and what I am recommending you do, is that you push your representatives at the state level, your senators and your state representatives in your state legislature, to move forward with passing legislation that recognizes silver and gold as legal tender. That's a big deal. Silver and gold, because we're dealing with a physical metal, a physical form of currency, is completely outside the enemy's attempts for a CBDC as well. A CBDC being a central bank digital currency. Basically, with a central bank digital currency, it's just, at what it sounds like, a digital currency completely ran and owned by the central banks, and they have complete control over it. They can see everything you do. It basically creates the perfect opportunity for oppression. You do one thing out of line, they could cut you off from all your money. They can't do that if the money's in your hand, like physical silver and physical gold. So, you want to push back against the CBDC? This is another amazing option. I highly recommend you reach out to your state senators and your state representatives about this. This is huge. This is, if you go and look at the buying patterns on silver and gold, I think gold just broke its all-time high maybe 7 times this year. It's been quite a few times. It just broke the all-time high. And we're not even halfway through the year yet for 2024. And silver is doing pretty well also. As of today, I saw silver go over $32.54, I believe. Somewhere in that ballpark. Quite impressive. So silver hasn't been over $30 since 2010, 2011, more than 10 years. That's a big deal, guys. So people are starting to understand why we need this, whether it be to combat the CBDC or whether it's just you want to protect yourself from the manipulation tactics, whatever. It can only benefit us as a community if legislation is introduced in order to utilize God's money. Trust God. Lean not on your own understanding. Just trust in the Lord. There's a reason why he says the silver and the gold is his. Trust the Lord. You're not going to get a better form of currency than what God made. You won't. Anyways, we need legislation on that. Everyone get to work, make those phone calls, do whatever you got to do. And if you know any candidates who are running and things like that, make sure this is part of their platform. Otherwise, what are they doing? You know? What are you doing? Yeah. Anyways, that's all for this episode. Good to talk with you all. And Modern Reformer is out.